afternoon. Joe, how are you doing today?
Good man, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Before we start the interview, you are related to J.K. Simmons, right?
That's right.
Okay, good. The thing is, the reason why I wanted to start like that is because when you put your name, another Joe comes out, and it's like, which Joe am I gonna be speaking
Yeah,
with?
that's right. Yeah, that'll happen with a common name.
Yeah. So, Joe, it's an honor to interview you. I think I don't know if I have your full list of like past works, um, but you have worked in one recent probably I'm mistaken, but one of the recent you worked as well in Mirror Mirror, a short film and Shock,
That's right. Yeah,
and as well in a mobile game, the Doom mobile game, right? The music.
that is incorrect. And I keep
That's
trying to talk
incorrect.
to IMDb about like taking that down, and they're like, "Who are you again? Why don't you shut up?" So yeah, I'll get back on that
Hey,
after.
no worries, no worries. It happened to
Yeah,
me in another interview. I was interviewing the director of a film, and I was like, "Oh, how was your past work as an actress?" And she was like, "No, no, no, that's not
yeah.
me.
What are you
That
talking
IMDb."
about? Classic.
So Joe, you are composing. Oh, you already composed. My bad. You already composed for the film "You Can't Run Forever." There's going to be releasing on May 17 on theaters, on demand, and all digital platforms. How does it feel that, being the fact that I've seen that you worked in a lot of short films and additional music for what I see here in another full length film a long time ago. How does it feel that this time you are the full composer for your father's upcoming film?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy, man, because we had talked about this kind of stuff for a while, you know. It was a a family endeavor, as you said. Like we all had our own little touches in different areas of the creation of this film, and the trust that we had for each other was really what carried this, man. Because like you can't really do anything creative like that if you don't have that kind of trust and reliance on each other to tell the truth about how you actually feel about something and to know that they're confident in their abilities and you're confident in their abilities. So that was the bedrock of this whole thing, as well as all of us talking about it pre-production and then pre-production then production, and the whole process. It was an open dialogue because um it's our family. We just talk about like how you feeling about this. There's no 9 to 5 where it's like, all right, phone shuts off at 5 and then don't talk to me. We could just just talk over dinner and whatever, and about whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, a unique experience for sure, man.
And being the fact that you have gone to this role as a composer, have you ever like thought of going through your father's footsteps to as well act?
I have thought about it. The idea of voice acting is very enticing to me. Actually, I like that idea a lot. I make a lot of like funny dumb voices for my family and friends all the time, and they keep telling me that there's could be money on the table there, and that could be a fun thing. But I just love music so much, man, and I really. I've loved it my whole life, and now I'm starting to love it in a new world that I didn't even know that I would be into. Like I would kind of the black sheep of my family in that they all love movies their entire life, and I only recently started watching movies seriously, like in the past couple of years. I'm just a music fan, so marrying the two is a really interesting thing, and yeah, so I think yeah, it's just the marriage of the two, and yeah, like learning from working with them and stuff. Yeah.
You mentioned that this was a family endeavor, this film. How is it working with the family in the whole, especially I would say with your dad, that he is the face of this film. And
Mhm.
how is it working with him? Because I imagine that you two sit down and listen to your work for the scenes, and when it comes to composing for that final edit as well, there's a lot of like back and forth. How is it working with your father in that sense?
Yeah. Well, I worked with him honestly very residually, just as far as like the creative process goes. I mean, he, as far as I was concerned, he was kind of just another dude to bounce ideas off of and get an insanely, top tier echelon opinion of like what things are. But I worked with my mom mostly because she was the director, so we did a lot of stuff together as far as the creation and editing and just like massaging of the music was concerned. But for the most part, man, I had relatively free reign. Like, and that's going back to what I was talking about, the trust. Like, we all just trust each other to do a great job. So I kind of just did my own thing for 80% of it, and then the other 20% was with my mom mostly, and sometimes my dad or my sister would pop in and give an opinion. And yeah, so I mean, I've seen his work, throughout my entire life, and I was actually in college when this shoot was going on, so I wasn't there on set for most of the time, but I did visit them once, and that's just a trip. That's really fun to see. But yeah, post production, it was mostly with my mom, but with the help of advice and opinion from someone who's one of the greatest actors alive.
Yeah, I completely agree. So Joe, I wanted to know, being the fact that you just mentioned that you were in school while the film was filming or in production, how could you manage, college and making composing for a full length film?
Well, I'll tell you what, I had to go part time for a semester of college because I don't know if I could have done it with the full 18 credits of classes and stuff. I also had tremendous amount of help from my composing instructor, who I had one-on-one lessons with, Stefan Swanson, who worked at NYU when I was there, and he was just an amazing help too. But yeah, I had to kind of weigh my priorities and be like, okay, this is a feature film which has potential, and we all are in love with it, and we're all putting our most into it. So I got to have the time to put my most into it. So yeah, and school was school. Like, I do my assignments, I go there. But for that semester, which bled into the next semester, which had started getting a little dicey, I kind of put that on the back burner, and still trying to do well in school, put it on the back burner, and really focused on making a good music. Yeah.
Are there any like composers that inspire you? Like, let's say for instance, the amazing John Williams. Are there
Uh-huh.
any composers out there that inspire your composing for future projects and as well for this film?
I mean, Williams or Zimmer or any of the greats of all time are you can learn anything from. But me personally, as far as film composers go, Johan Johansson was one of my favorites of all time. Rest in peace. He just had such an amazing way to fuse classical scores with electronic scores. That is just something that I really aspire to, because that's kind of my background. Is I'm a classically trained musician, but probably my favorite genre of music is electronic music. Just the totally genre blending, open ended. You can do anything with any sound, just create it, and it becomes a thing. I really, really, really admire Johan Johansson's scores for that reason. And I also get a lot of um, inspiration from classical composers from the Romantic era, like Schubert or Tchaikovsky, as well as some modern classical or sorry electronic musicians like um, John Hopkins, or even some like weird stuff from underground like bass producers like G Jones or EPROM, Saruda, people like that. But my taste for music is very broad. But as far as classical composers, I would say my personal biggest inspiration is probably Johan Johansson.
Okay. And is there any type of film or franchise that you would like to be part of? Like, I got into interview full composers from full length films like yourself, and as well co-composers. That they have the main composer and they work on other
Sure, right.
things. Is there any like franchise or films that you would like to be part of or that you would like to work on as a future project or endeavor?
Interesting question. Interesting question, man. Um, wow. Um, to be honest, I don't know if I'm as knowledgeable as I need to be to answer that question totally honestly and appropriately. But if I'm just talking like what's happening right now, um, the Dune soundtrack was really interesting to me, and Dune Part Two as well. The fusion again of elements, sort of Johan Johansson style and Hans Zimmer style as well, who obviously did the soundtrack, was really cool, man. And I just love anything to do with genre blending and creative amalgamations of a bunch of different kinds of stuff happening at once is really cool. So from everything that is not necessarily Hans Zimmer, like the amazing sound effects for when they do the voice in Dune, or the fusions of like Eastern music with classical scores, production and stuff. Um, all of those things are right up my alley. So that would be that would be a fun one for sure.
And is do you have any like upcoming projects? You're already done with this one. And do
Mhm.
you have any other upcoming projects that you can give us a little details of like what you're working on?
Yeah, well, I'm actually doing a bit of mixing lately. I music in any sense is really I love doing. Composition probably number one, hands down. But I've been doing a lot of mixing for music lately too, which is really cool because it makes me think about composing in a different way too. Because you get to kind of see, like, oh, they give me some music, and then I mix it and I figure out how to make it sound good. You get all the music, and then how do I make it pop and sound good?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working on a couple documentaries with my buddy Sammy Jono, who we have the same agent and we've collaborated on things in the past. We just finished a documentary that I don't know when it's going to be released, but called Harlem Ice, about high school figure skaters up in Harlem. And my next project working with him is going to be David Blaine's next few Magic specials, actually, which is going to be coming out on Disney Plus sometime in the future. So as far as compositional stuff goes, I'm still unsure when the next big one will be, but gigs here and there all the time, man. So yeah.
That's amazing. And this will be my final question for you today, Joe. If you could describe the film in one word, what would it be?
Probably intense. It's intense.
Intense?
There's intensity in the just like evil demonic side of J.K. Simmons, and then there's intensity in the love that the family feels for each other too, and that dichotomy, sort of that balancing yin yang of the film, is something that I think is really going to speak to a lot of people, and speaks to me.
That's amazing word and amazing words as well. Thank you very much, Joe, for giving us the time to talk about the film, and can't wait to see your any other upcoming project of yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you, John. Great to see you, man.
Thank you.